Warning, 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 warning. 3, 2, 1. The FantasyFootballTips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliano.
Hi, you're listening to Fantasy Football Tips, the podcast in association with Premier Punt, the home of daily fantasy football betting. It's game week 30 and we've had a little break, but I'm joined by Quigliano this week and no JP, which is slightly disappointing, Quigliano.
Very disappointing actually. I've spent a good bit of time with JP recently, sort of a little joint venture that we've been on, and it's brought us together, but unfortunately he said he didn't care about his fans and that he'll appear when he wants to appear.
Okay, I mean, I'm going to question that. I'm not sure that's the sort of thing JP would say, but I mean, he's not here to defend himself, so...
Well, and who is? And then he told me, two fingers to them, I don't care.
Oh dear.
But his words, not mine. Don't shoot the messenger, Mills.
Okay, so obviously we missed game week 29 because of the quick double fixtures within that 1 week, but we are back this week and it's a depleted fixture list, isn't it, Quigliano? And I think everyone knows this, but obviously with Arsenal progressing in the FA Cup, another fixture bites the dust.
Yeah, I mean, I keep my eyes fairly close to Twitter. Other sites out there, not other sites, just fans of the sport really. Like they were monitoring people that were being transferred in, and managers were actually transferring in players that weren't playing this week.
Yeah, I think I saw some of those tweets as well. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Surely, even if you're not looking that far ahead, surely you're looking to the next game week.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what my advice to anyone who wants to take fantasy football a bit more seriously and probably win their mini league, because there's players that take it seriously. And then there's those that are addicted. Like, if you want to win your mini league, you will definitely beat the casual fan just by following like Twitter, sites like FPL, FantasyFootballTips.co, and this podcast. It'll set you up so much more. I'm struggling to get the sentence out, but it puts you in a real advantageous position.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, we agree with that. So, and then obviously with FantasyFootballTips.co, premium members get extra content, which is good. Obviously, there are other sites out there which are very valuable as well, and the Twitter accounts, like you say, it kind of gives you the pulse, doesn't it? It's on the minute, almost up to the second.
I like that. I like that phrase.
On the pulse. I mean, maybe that could be a strapline for us.
Yeah, on the pulse. I like that. It'd be good if someone had like an app where you could easily access all that as well.
Well, I was gonna come on to that actually. Have you? I know you've been busy. You've been trekking here, there, and everywhere with JP. Have you managed to have a look at the iPhone app, which is now available?
I've had limited access to that. North Wales' 3G or 4G is not that strong, so it's something that I'm going to be playing with this week.
Okay, and obviously it is available on Android as well, and quite exciting because this will be the first new podcast to feature on the app. So you will be able to listen to this podcast from the app itself. It's available in the App Store and in Google Play. You just need to search for FantasyFootballTips.co and you will find it. So,
and how much is that going to cost you, mate? Just
well, just as you asked, it's absolutely free, which is pretty good as well, isn't it? So please go and have a look at that. Sort of thoughts leading into this game week then, Quigliano. Only 10 teams taking part. How's your team looking at the moment?
It is fairly well prepared. I think by the time I've taken one transfer, which is all I've got on my sleeve, unfortunately, it'll feature a minimum of 10 players, hopefully 11. But I've got Cheapy Target and it doesn't look like he's playing. So if he doesn't play, I've got a guaranteed 10 to play.
Yeah, I'm in a similar situation. I've got Target as well, and I've also got Borthwick, Jackson. Well, they're out anyway, aren't they, Man United? But my defence is looking poor. Monreal again. So I think I've got 3 to choose. I've got 3 defenders, but like I say, Target probably won't play. So it looks like that could be down to 2. Sort of Arsenal going through a spanner in the works for me.
Yeah, I mean. It was kind of inevitable, I think, that they were going to beat Hull in that fixture.
Yeah.
So should have been prepared for. But again, you can't be chopping and changing all the time, can you? So
No, and that's the thing. A lot of top teams, a lot of our top players will be missing in game week 30, and I think it's a balance, isn't it, between how many you actually drop and how many you leave there. Because if you drop them all, surely you're going to want them all back the following week.
well, yeah, I've paid the price for that actually with Firmino, with Liverpool's, because they had game week blank before, didn't they?
Yeah,
Was it game week 27? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
And he was a player I wanted. The fixtures were favourable, and I opted against. I thought, I'm not putting a player in that I'm then going to have to transfer out. And then looking to game week 30, I knew that they weren't going to be playing as well. So I've avoided him, and actually I've missed out by doing that. So you've got to sort of stick to your guns and know where you're going with your sort of team. And sometimes if there's a good player, you need to keep him. Going to need to keep him, and that's, for me, I've kept the faith with Sanchez, and I feel like I'm just going to have to keep him sat there in my team, not playing this week, to reap the long-term rewards.
Okay, absolutely. So Quigliano, I think we've covered that in enough depth. Let's go forwards into the Gary of the week.
The Gary of the week, and I think there's some good options. I mean, give it limited teams available. I think it's easy. I'm struggling here, Mills, tonight. I think I'm a little bit tired, but I'm struggling to get my words out.
I'm wondering what you and JP have been up to.
A lot of quality time. I'm not going to say more than that. But I will start again. There is a lot of good fixtures to choose from, and I think a lot of options. So I know there's only limited games available, but there was plenty to choose from. The Gary of the week, I've opted for who we think is going to be the guaranteed point scorer. That is Sergio Aguero. Returning to a bit of form. Easy fixture against Norwich.
Do you think it's an easy fixture?
I do.
Away at Carrow Road.
I think they're tripe. I think they're absolute tripe, and I think they're deservedly going to get relegated. And I think that Man City are going to turn them over.
Okay. I mean, Chelsea went there 2 game weeks ago and just kind of scraped a 2-1 win.
Who are Chelsea? Who are Chelsea? We're not talking about the Chelsea of old there, my friend.
Okay. I mean, I think it's just a kind of a pointer. But yeah, I mean, Aguero.
I thought that was a type of dog, but carry on.
Aguero does look good. We'd never want to bet against him, really. I just think there might be some other fixtures out there, but we'll come on to those. I'm sure you've got those up your sleeve as well. So, who am I to question your Gary of the week? We're going Aguero. So, what about the long shot? Where's the Xabi going?
The ode long shot. Sort of return to an old boy, Siggy. Someone I've forgotten about for a long, long period of time now, Gylfi Sigurdsson. I know Paul Merson struggles with that one. Quality player, FPL pedigree. Swansea look a slightly better. He's our long shot. They've got Bournemouth away, but again, stick your neck out. You might be rewarded. Might be a little differential for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll back you up on that, Quigliano. I had a few premium members and a few people on Twitter actually last week who were looking for a sort of differential, and we were talking a lot about Swansea. Also talking about defensively as well, because the fixtures that they had coming up, I mean, they had Norwich last week. They only beat them 1-0, but they did get that defensive clean sheet. But again, like you say, Bournemouth this week. And then I think they play Aston Villa next week at home. So a decent little run of fixtures there for Swansea. And Siggy scored last week, didn't he? And like I said, they got the clean sheet. So some decent, pointage available there. I also fancy them to get a clean sheet again this week. And I think there could be some differential in terms of defenders there as well.
Oh, well, I think, yeah, if moving on, well, we're too early to move on to side tips, but yeah, there's definitely, I think a lot of people would appreciate a bore draw in terms of the fact that you might have Rangel or Williams from Swansea, you might have Daniels, Bournemouth, so a 0-0 draw I think would suit a lot of people out there. But I'm going long shot for Siggy because I think he is capable, and we know he's capable.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I do think Swansea are on a slight upward curve there as well, so I do like that shout. And let's look at the Delia then. Where are you?
The Delia, where are you? And it is one of the top point scoring midfielders, Millsy. Would you have any ideas who are maybe guessing or getting at there?
Ozil?
It is Wijnaldum.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Where are you? He's you know, he scores all of his points in kind of bursts of one game, a bit like Christian Eriksen can do at times. Newcastle, I think that they've invested, they've bought some decent players, but they're in turmoil, and I'm calling him out. Where are you? Let's be having you. Wijnaldum.
Okay.
Wijnaldum. Am I saying it correctly?
Well, I think it's... I don't know. I'd go Wijnaldum, but again, you know, looking at Newcastle as well, they are in turmoil at the moment, and I know there's a lot of discussion over the managerial position, and I think there might be an announcement tonight or maybe even tomorrow. Apparently, Rafa Benitez is going to be taking over there. McLaren is going to be going out. So, what thoughts there? Could someone like Benitez spark a mini revival? I mean, is he the man to kind of get them out of that position?
I mean, I'm just literally flicked onto Sky Sports there to get myself a bit more up to date on that. And it says he's mulling over a 3-year deal.
I mean, I think a 3-year deal is crazy, because if they go down, Benitez is going to find himself in the Championship next year. So within the space of 12 months, he's gone from Real Madrid, sort of the pinnacle, or certainly at the very, very top, down to the Championship. And, you know, no disrespect to the Championship, it's a fantastic league, but there's a chasm there, isn't there, of level. Well,
pitting his wits against the likes of Enrique, to then pitting his wits against Mick McCarthy and and Kenny Jackett of Wolves. I think, well, it's just another day in the life of being Newcastle, isn't it, really? You wouldn't expect anything less. They're in trouble. I probably wouldn't be handing out a 3-year contract to somebody that is probably going to be on a lot of money to come to Newcastle, because they're going to have to pay him well. I mean, he might not go yet. It's not guaranteed.
Okay, so let's hypothesise this a little bit. If he goes, is that the sort of thing that could spark a revival in a player like Wijnaldum, who, like you say, has the quality, just doesn't show it on a consistent basis?
Yes, I'm going to go with that. Sunderland, for example, were written off a while ago, and then under Sam Allardyce have turned it around slightly. They've got themselves out the bottom 3 by point. So there's no reason to say he couldn't, but there isn't that much time. They do have a game in hand, actually, on Sunderland. So if they win, that gets themselves straight out of the problem. It will be difficult, though. If they went down, I think they'd be in dire straits. Dire straits.
I think the next 3 fixtures are key, aren't they, for Newcastle? Okay, so that sounds good, Quigliano. Let's go on to the side tips.
Side tips. So, I mean, again, not much to choose from in terms of the fixtures, but plenty of players that are options. Harry Kane is a must. I think at Spurs, whenever anybody plays Aston Villa, their centre forward is going to be a must. Eriksen is another option. Looking dangerous, quality player. I mean, Dele Alli is still available there for a cheap price. Changed the game, kind of allowed Spurs to get back in it against Arsenal at the weekend, so that was good. Also got then, so I mentioned a board draw, Daniels at Bournemouth, getting some attacking returns from him, and they're also getting those clean sheets. So there is potential there. David Silva, Man City. I've already slagged Norwich off. Sorry, Canaries, but I think you could be in for a pasting this weekend. These Arnautovic and Mane. Okay, we have Stoke and Southampton. I think those are 2 options that Arnautovic is definitely playing a lot better than Mane, but he's still a favourite of mine, old Sadio Mane. So side tipping him up. You might also be wishing for a board draw there. I know Butland is a favourite. Fraser Forster has become a favourite for the keeper aspects, and most teams have also got probably a Stoke defender or a Southampton defender. So maybe looking at those 2 fixtures thinking, I'm going to pack the defence and hope for that clean sheet. And then in addition to that, the side tips are the Leicester spine. I did speak to a young crow who shall remain nameless, and he vows that a Leicester spine is essential with Huth, Mahrez and Vardy. Those are your side tips.
Okay, I like that a lot, Quigliano. Lots to think about there. Lots probably for us to discuss a little bit later on in the show. But we're going to have a short break, and we'll be back straight after this with some questions from Twitter.
You are listening to Mills and Quigliano on the FantasyFootballTips.co podcast. Sponsored by Premier Punt. All your fantasy Premier League tips in one juicy little podcast. Get in touch at www.fantasyfootballtips.co.
Okay, Quigliano, the fans have been in touch once again. I mean, this is some of the hashtags that I'm getting for you are just. It makes me feel sick, to be honest. We've got a question from Blue Paddle Pops, who we've had a question from Blue Paddle Pops before. I remember the name, and they want to know which players in the relegation battle could be fantasy gold.
Well, again, the name does. That should be one of our favourites. They should be attached to our favourites. You're right there, Mills. It sounds like you've just fallen over.
Yeah, the power of the microphone. I literally just clipped it with my phone as I'm reading these tweets out. It was the hashtag that caught me off guard.
What was that hashtag?
Well, there's two. Hashtag the source is the source.
Nice.
Yeah, I prefer on the pulse, but okay. And another hashtag big ups to Big Quig.
That's a nice touch.
Big
That
Quig,
is a very nice
like
touch.
That, yeah.
Classy as always from Blue Paddle Pops.
Okay, so which players in the relegation battle could be fantasy gold?
I think we've talked about one, haven't we?
Yeah, we kind of discussed Newcastle, didn't we? And I think this is interesting. You know, you get to this part, this stage of the season, and these teams and these players that maybe have not performed very well over the course of the season, suddenly, as desperation kicks in, you see some of these performances, don't you? I mean, let's not forget Leicester City last season. That was where the whole revival and the Premier League push this season, that's where it started. They were going down last season, and it was a relegation scrap that started this amazing run of form.
You're right. I mean, I would kind of steer clear, but if you're looking for something, Defoe. I mean, Defoe is fairly consistent up front for Sunderland. If someone's going to score, you may be looking at him. Van Aanholt at Sunderland again is another player with some attacking returns there, because clean sheets you can't be guaranteeing them. I also quite like that Jan Kirchhoff.
Yeah, I like him.
I know he didn't have a great start against Spurs. He kind of let Eriksen shoot from miles away, but he's definitely somebody who's picking up bonus points and doing quite well in a limited amount of time. So if you were going Sunderland, you'd maybe be looking at Newcastle. I don't Wijnaldum really. Would you be brave enough to pick a Villa player?
I don't think so. I don't think that's feasible in any realm, anywhere in the universe.
No, I don't see that either. And I also don't really see much option. I mean, Houlihan's points seem to have dried up quite a bit, don't they?
Yeah, and he's not a consistent starter either, is he?
No, he's not. I mean, Jerome, there's not a defender in there that makes me want to have anybody. There's not a midfielder or an attacker. So I'd say steer clear of there. If it was anyone, it'd be out of Sunderland and Newcastle. I think Defoe's your option at Sunderland, and Wijnaldum at Newcastle.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Quigliano. Okay, we've kind of discussed this one a little bit, but Nick Hill wants to know, is it worth bringing in, well, he said Artrovic, but I think he means Arnautovic, for this week against Southampton. Will he score? So he just wants to know, will he score? I mean, you're asking us to look into a crystal ball there, so...
So the answer to that is no.
Okay, he's not going to score. Okay, 7 Stars Fantasy is talking about taking a -4. He's saying, I plan on taking a -4 points hit, which will leave me with 10 players on the pitch and no goalie. Is it worth transferring one more? So in other words, is it worth him taking an extra -4, which is going to put him on -8, just to have a goalkeeper?
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, it all depends who you're looking at. Who would you guarantee a clean sheet from, Mills?
I don't think you can. I think this is the problem. I think that's why that's not a feasible. You know, I'm in a similar position this week, like I say, with Monreal, Borthwick Jackson, Matt Targett defensively. I'm looking at potentially having either one or two defenders playing, which is where the gaps in my team will be. I think you can justify that, you know, instead of taking a minus points hit, because you're just trying to predict a clean sheet, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do. I think Man City possibly, I think Swansea possibly, like you know, Bournemouth possibly, but it's nowhere near guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Man City and Spurs would be the two that I would go with.
Yeah, so Spurs, Alderweireld is racking up several points for Spurs, even when they concede. So he's an option. Leicester we discussed really. That's Spine. Simpson's a cheap option, but they're not guaranteed to keep that clean sheet. Man City. Yeah.
So I mean, he's looking at goalkeepers, so he's going to go Joe Hart or Forster, but unless you're going to keep them, I think that's the thing. You're not going to swap your keeper again. So if the fixtures look good for the keeper that you're going to put in, maybe, but it's probably not worth it.
There we go. Answered.
Okay. I think I had another one, and it's disappeared. I'll tell you what I have got. I've got an email from our good friend Andy Goodland, who I believe offered a game of golf to you, Quigliano, after you kind of dissed him on air.
Well, I will take him up on that kind offer, so we'll put that one in. Just get me the name of the club and
okay. Well, I'll
the
tell
golf course. That is not like
it's
Chelmsford or something like that.
It's Chelmsford Golf Club. He's actually a PGA pro.
Chelmsford, I believe that's Essex Way, isn't it?
It is Essex Way.
A garrison town, I have
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
Okay.
So I look forward to watching that, Quigliano. Maybe we can put some footage on YouTube. He's asking a question. First of all, he was asking if I was better, so thanks, Andy, for that. Yes, I am a little bit. And he's asking who's the best midfielder to get in if money was no object whatsoever. He said he's looking to shift Sterling or Sanchez. Well, first of all, surely you would be getting rid of Sanchez this week rather than Sterling, because Sterling is going to play. Hopefully.
At least he has an option of playing, yeah.
Yeah. So if money was no object to maybe replace Sanchez with, who would you be looking at this week?
This week, I think, given that money situation, Ericsson or Silva would be my choices.
Okay. And if it was just completely open, who would you be looking at?
I don't want to get rid of Sanchez because he's in my team. I can't advise that to anyone, otherwise I'd have to do it myself, really. I believe that Sanchez will return. Okay, I believe that Sanchez will score more points than Ozil between now and the end of the season.
I think there's some good logic in that as well. I think he has looked slightly better over the last game or two, and he should be fresher, shouldn't he? Because of the time that he had out. And don't forget, Wenger did give him that extra 2-week break after that injury, so he's just kind of catching up now, and I think he's getting there. And it's been a long season for Ozil. It's rare for him to go a season without getting injured, so this has been a long season for him.
So, I mean, I can't advise him to get rid there. I mean, Mills, your thoughts? Because you definitely caught me off guard. I mean, Payet or Firmino, I think, would be the options. I think for me, when I look at the season, I want to have Payet in there. I want Mahrez. I also want Firmino. And so, those would be my options.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one that I'd throw in is the one that you said straight away is David Silva. I've kind of backed him myself going into the last kind of few weeks of the season. He paid dividends last week with those 2 assists, but obviously that was a fairly easy game. It'll be interesting to see how he and Aguero and the whole Man City squad really perform this week. Yeah. But I think, you would hope that there's going to be a good push from them. And of course, we've got some double game weeks coming up as well. So exciting times. Quigliano, we're coming towards the end of the standard podcast. We're going to go into podcast extra in just a minute or so. But I mean, I've got to come back to JP. He's missing out, isn't he? I mean,
some would say JP's probably laughing at us right now, enjoying this free time that he's gained. But he's definitely missing out. I feel like I've got no one to slag off, really. I feel if I start going at you, that's kind of just going to be a bit of a pointless battle. So yeah, JP, come back. We need the punch bag back.
Okay, and I know the fans want him as well. So I wouldn't like to guarantee that he'll be back next week, but I'm pretty sure he will be. And I know JP's the first to want to get on this podcast, so I'm sure if we can lure him back from North Wales, we'll get him on next week. Quigliano, just leaves me to say that if the listeners are listening out there, the cheapies who are not yet a premium member and they want to hear more, they want to hear your captain pick for this week, your actual captain pick and mine, then they're going to have to pay up, aren't they? And take that premium.
It's put up or shut up right there.
Yeah, and just to finish off before we go into podcast extra, there's not many game weeks left now, Quigliano. if you're languishing in a league somewhere, is there still time to turn it around, or have we gone past the point of no return?
Pick a player above you, shoot them down one at a time, and see how high you can get.
Okay, I like that spirit. I really like that. And the only reason I ask you that is because I'm getting a few messages from people this week saying, I'm giving up, I can't do it anymore. Although on the flip side of that, I'm getting some really nice messages from people who are really, really shooting high and doing very, very well. So keep on going is the message from Quigliano.
Absolutely.
Okay, Quigliano, it's been a pleasure. I'll speak to you in a second, right after this, in the Podcast Extra.
Warning, 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 warning. 3, 2, 1. The FantasyFootballTips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliano.